Hey guys, welcome back to Triple Double Nation. Today we'll be covering 6 young NBA players with brightest futures. Let's get into the video. Whether it's picking stocks, drafting a fantasy team, or finding an under-the-radar series to binge watch, everyone wants in on the next big thing. When it comes to sports, evaluating players' potential and developing their talent can be the difference between Executive of the Year and finding a new line of work. Sometimes NBA players burst onto the scene from seemingly out of nowhere. Take Devontae Graham, who averaged 4.7 points per game on 28% three-point shooting as a rookie for the Hornets, only to become one of the most exciting young guards in the league the last season while dropping 18 points per game on 37% three-point shooting. Graham is an anomaly, however, as there is at least a general predictor of which players are posed to take a leap. Most of the players who had a breakout 2019 and 20 season had a significant uptick in performance in the second half of the previous season. For example, last year's most improved player, Brandon Ingram, along with several others who received votes, showed great improvement from the first half of the 2018 and 19 season to the second half. Here's a look at some of those players using NBA.com's player impact estimate. By this logic, we should be able to take a look at the second half of the 2019 and 20 season to predict which players could have a breakout campaign in 2020 and 2021. So that's exactly what we've done here. The 6 players listed below all showed significant improvement from the first half of last season to the second half. Obviously, the second half of last season was a bit shorter than usual, so we have to take it with a grain of salt. But these players should still be prime candidates to have breakout campaigns given their skills and situations. Number 6, Michael Porter Jr. Anyone who watched Porter in Orlando saw his prodigious potential, and Jeremy Grant fleeing Denver for Detroit should open up significant minutes for Porter this season. After struggling to find consistent playing time throughout the season, Porter earned second-team All-Bubble recognition by averaging 22 points and 8.6 rebounds while making 42% of his 6.4 three-point attempts per game. He also played well in the postseason, if not inconsistently, putting up 11.4 points and 6.7 rebounds per game on 38% three-point shooting. Offense is not a question with Porter, who took a redshirt year after the Nuggets drafted him 14th overall in 2018. The only thing that could prevent him from having a breakout season is if his defense continues to be as poor as it was last year, when head coach Mike Malone was forced to take him off the court at times. It's something that I'm taking head on, and it's something I want to do, Porter said via the Denver Post. I want to be one of the best players, and I want to guard the best players, and I want the best players on the other team to guard me, so it's a challenge that I'm going to take on, and I'm looking forward to it. Whether he starts alongside Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic or plays the 6-man role, Porter is poised for a breakout 2020 and 2021 campaign, given his skill set and increased opportunity. Number 5, Kobe White. You probably don't remember because it seems like 15 years ago, but White went on an absolute tear shortly before the season was postponed to the COVID-19 pandemic. Since the Bulls weren't invited to the bubble, that's the last we saw of him, but there's a strong possibility that his post-All-Star break run of 24.7 points and 4.3 assists on 41% three-point shooting is more than just a 10-game hot streak. Sharing the backcourt with Zach LaVine creates certain only one-ball issues, but the new Chicago regime, led by head coach Billy Donovan, expects White to be a vocal leader as a team's starting point guard this season. That should create more opportunity for him to initiate offense out of the pick and roll, where he can hit pull-up jumpers, finish at the rim, and show off the improved playmaking he displayed in his final games of last season. We had 9 months off, so I feel like I've taken a huge leap in my game, especially in my decision-making and playing off the pick and roll, White said. Coming into last year's season, coming off the pick and roll was something that we really didn't do at North Carolina, so for me it was new, and then different coverages. This whole 9 months I've had time to work on these different coverages, what's open, what's not, and how to attack these different coverages. And for me, to more consistently shoot off the dribble, finish at the rim, those are 3 things I focus on the most. Number 4, Derek White. So apparently this is going to be a huge year for players with the surname White. Derek White came on after the All-Star break last season and took things to another level in the bubble, where he averaged nearly 19 points, 5 assists, and 4.3 rebounds on 39% three-point shooting. One of the biggest differences was the volume of his three-point barrage, attempting 8 threes per game in the bubble after putting up just 2.6 per contest in the first 61 games of the season. The Spurs were at the bottom of the league in three-point attempts last season, so if White has the green light to be one of the team's primary distance shooters, he could be on the verge of a huge statistical improvement to go along with his stout defense and ball handling. White may miss some time to begin the year as he recovers from off-season toe surgery, but he should be able to pick up right where he left off when he returns. Number 3, Mitchell Robinson. One of the few young players on the Knicks who showed significant promise last season, Robinson played well in 10 games after the All-Star break, raising his averages across the board. He set the all-time NBA record with a .742 field goal percentage for the year, but perhaps the most significant development with Mitchell was that he began to learn how to stay out of the foul trouble. He didn't draw more than 3 fouls in any of the final 9 games of the season. By avoiding foul trouble, Robinson stayed on the floor with nearly 27 minutes per game over that stretch, compared to the 22.6 he played prior to the All-Star break. That could be the key to Robinson having a breakout 2020 and 2021 campaign. He also said he worked on his three-point shot this offseason and continued to improve his conditioning. Basically what I did this summer was still working on getting a jump shot, did a lot of running because I want to be in better shape for the season to help my team out, Robinson said via SNY. If he can stay on the floor, Robinson is a production machine, and the Knicks may give him the starting center job, if not immediately, perhaps later in the season, as they look to see just how far the 22-year-old's potential can reach. Number 2, Cameron Johnson. After being moved into the starting lineup, Johnson impressed during the Suns' dominating 8-0 bubble performance, averaging 13.3 points and 5.9 rebounds on 35% three-point shooting. Things should only get better for him this season with Chris Paul as his new point guard. Last season, the Suns were 29th in the NBA in open three-pointers attempted per game, according to NBA.com, while Johnson averaged 1.8 open three-point attempts per game. Compare that to Paul's stretch 4 with the Thunder, Danilo Gallinari, who averaged 3.9 open attempts from deep last season. That means Johnson, a pure shooter in his own right, will likely be getting much better looks from deep this season. He has much more to this game than just three-point shooting too, as he averaged 1.19 points per possession, finishing at the rim last season per Synergy. He was also in the 88th percentile as a transition scorer with 1.353 points per possession, with the ability to hit quick threes or get behind the defense for easy buckets. Watch here, as Johnson needs only a split second of daylight to switch the three-pointer in transition over Aaron Holiday. Later in the game, Holiday finds himself in the exact same position and this time cheats up because he clearly remembers Johnson splashing that three in his face. Johnson reads the situation perfectly and instead goes backdoor for a wide open dunk off a sweet find from Devin Booker. With his three-point prowess and transition ability, Johnson should flourish with the addition of Paul to the dangerous Suns lineup. Number 1, Chris Boucher. The Raptors have a hole in the middle after the departure of Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka, which will be filled by some combination of Aaron Baines, Alex Len, and Boucher, who has showed tantalizing promise in limited minutes with Toronto over the past 2 seasons. Boucher posted eye-popping per 36-minute averages of 24 points, 13.3 rebounds, and 3 blocks on 53% three-point shooting in 7 games in the bubble, which helped him earn a 2-year, $13.5 million contract from the Raptors this offseason, with the expectation of a larger role with the team. All I have to do is really focus on what's the next step, what's the next thing I have to do, how can I help the team build a little bit more and be a day-in, day-out contributor. Boucher said after re-signing with Toronto, that's most of the talks that we had, just how to be consistent and be able to contribute every day, not only 1 out of 2. Boucher presents a rare combination of shot blocking and three-point shooting, and he's quick enough to be able to guard both 4s and 5s. Also, keep in mind that Baines has struggled to remain on the court the last 2 seasons, which can make Boucher an even more important piece as the season goes on. That's going to do it for today's video, guys. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like on the video. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.